All right, thank you everyone, and hello React Finland. It's good to be here. So, I'm gonna start with a story, and it's a story about a dilemma we developers sometimes have. We might start a new project, and we are excited because we get to do everything from scratch, and we get to choose whatever tools we want to use, and we want to build the infrastructure this time the correct way and have everything, the architecture and everything planned exactly like we want to do it. However, there is a danger that we might use too much time on that. So when the first time customer comes and asks, hey, what do we have now? We have been using a lot of time. We can demo this. Well, we have been doing lots of great things, and we have this and this infrastructure in place, but this is the app right now. And well, as a customer, you might understand that this is not desirable. Customer point of view, they are excited about getting the app finally done. They have been thinking about it long, and they have been pitching, getting money to do it finally, and now they are expecting some features and results, and all they saw was this white screen. So you might want to please the customer, and you start right away building those features, and you're ready for the first demo. But this, however, can also be a problem. There might be challenges then during the project. Bugs can be caught maybe late, and we are using time doing manually things that we could have automated. And this, again, can lead to problems and at the end of the project. We might go over budget and miss some deadlines. And again, customer is probably not happy about that then either. So we have this kind of dilemma. How can we solve this? Like Jani introduced me, I'm Juha Linnanen. I'm the head of mobile development at Go4. And you can follow me at Twitter, at Pillar15, and GitHub at EduPlus. And my plan today is to show or discuss and go over the plan we at Go4 made to solve this dilemma in a mobile project, especially the React Native project. Hopefully, afterwards you at least have hints and ideas how to do the same. So, what was our solution? We were thinking that two things we want to have in every larger project is to have the continuous integration and continuous deployment or delivery, whatever word you use there, or shorter C and CICD. We were thinking that, hey, what about automating the automation? If we get all that infrastructure things, setting the CI/CD done at the beginning of the project really quickly, then we can still deliver those features that the customer is so much wanting to see. And this was, I think, we started to look how to do this in a better way. But before we go how we achieve this, let's go a little bit over the CI and CD, what they are, and just to make sure that everybody is on the same page. So, continuous integration. The idea behind that is that we merge code in smaller increments. Instead of taking a feature branch and working forever there, and when we go to merge to the master, we notice that, oh, there has been lots of changes and we have lots of integration problems. So that way we can prevent those problems. And the typical flow with continuous integration is that some developer does feature work or bug fixing or whatever, and then they will make a pull request. And when the pull request is done, the continuous integration server comes alive. It runs all our tests. It will compile our code and see that it works with the master. And then someone will review the code and once the review has been approved, it can be merged to master. And this goes on and on. We do this many times. And since it's those tests run and code compile parts of this is automated, it's easy to do, and it works the same way every time. Now, then CD, we continue where we left from the CI part. So we try to automate the deployment as well. And the idea is that we produce the end product, which in the mobile app case will be the mobile app that is in the App Store. So anyone from the team, testers, or our customer can see and see the latest results. And again, here the key is that this is being automated. And so when that pull request is being merged, let's say to GitHub or whatever repository, build is automatically triggered and built, and it will be released to the app stores. In the mobile case, both the App Store and Play Store. This allows us to get feedback much faster and during the development process, which then means that when it's time to release to production, we don't recognize all those bugs and problems at the last possible moment and have stressful testing and long hours at the office. Okay, but again, you can see that we do this over and over. And how we like to do it at Gopher is by using build flavors. And this really helps to get all the benefits from the CI and CD. And so we have 3 build flavors: development, staging, and production. And so anytime some new code has been pushed to master, the new version of dev release or the dev version of our app will be deployed to the store, and testers can see it there. Once the features that we are working on are relatively good, we can push the code to the staging branch, which will trigger automatic build to the staging environment, or the staging make a staging version of the app. And once we see that everything is good and working well with the staging, we can be confident that we can release and make the production version. All right, so all of this automatic triggering, where is it happening? Well, we need some kind of cloud service for that. Here I have several that I think work with React Native. And there are just some examples. There might be many more. Some are cheaper, some are easier to use, some are easier to, or can be customized better, and so on. So they have lots of different differences, but the main idea is the same, and you can choose between them. We chose Circle CI, since we had some experience with it beforehand, and also React Native itself is using Circle CI, so I was confident that it should work with React Native at the time. So to recap, what are some of the benefits? Why do we want to set up this CI/CD? Like I mentioned before, we get this automated, repeatable process. There's no humans doing computer's job anymore. All of those steps that are good, that the computer can do well, we don't need to worry about that. It also gives us the quick feedback loop. We get to know right away if there is some problems with the test or with the compiling the code, or if there is some integration challenges, and we get to fix them faster. And all of this gives us some time savings and cost reductions. And this is, of course, why we want to do the projects the right way from the beginning. And I truly believe that with a well-working CI/CD system, we can achieve that. Okay, then if we go to how do you then do it in for React Native project? We are now convinced that we want to have it, so how do we do it? Here I have steps, and if it seems like there's many, yeah, you're right, there's 8 of them. And I won't go through them here, but we will go through them in the following slides. And so when I was looking into how to do this, it was quickly clear to me that there is no this kind of one guide that, okay, follow this, these are the best practices, and this is how you should do this always. And there are many different solutions and blog posts and things, and it was a little bit trying to discover what works and how to piece it all together. So I'm going now through what worked for us at Go4. It might not be the most optimal, and there might be better ways as well, but this at least worked for us. So first step is to integrate the CI/CD service to our version controlling. How to do it is probably specific to each of those cloud services. Circle CI, it's very easy. There is a button, follow this project, and it's integrated. From then on, if there is new builds or new pull request and so on, Circle CI can see what's happening. Step 2, we need to configure the CI and CD pipelines. And at least the ones, the cloud services I have used have this kind of setup that you have one config file, which there is just a small part shown there. And this is the one from Circle CI, and it shows some of our workflows, the Android workflows specifically. And here we can see that if there is new code, we run the tests. And if tests pass, we build the Android, not in the master or staging branches, because in master and staging branches, then we will deploy to dev and staging environments. But there's much more, and building this config takes a lot of time, and luckily you can have it more basic, and you can improve it later on. Okay, step 3. We want to have those different build flavors, so we can have the production and then development and staging, for example. How to do it is a little bit different between Android and iOS. Android, you have a pretty good built-in support with the flavors, product flavors. And you can add there the application ID suffix, which will make it its own application. On iOS, you need to make your own extra schemes and build configurations for it. And you also need this library called the React Native Schemes Manager, so that it syncs all your dependencies with the new schemes that you have created. All right. Then on the React Native side, if you want to have something in your code working differently depending on which build flavor you have, you can use this library called React Native config. And with that, you can have environment file for each different build flavors. Here's, for example, environment file from the dev. And then in the app, in your JavaScript code, you can actually just call config.api URL and get whatever environment you are on. So that makes it easy to have differences between the apps. or the flavors. Step 4, there are some passwords and other secrets you don't want to commit to your repository with your, and there are some options. How do you share them with the cloud service otherwise? One option is to use some kind of private storage, is it AWS S3 or whatever service, but that adds some complexity to your process. We found the easiest way is to use to encoding those things in a variables and using the Circle CI environmental variables. The things you want to share is the key store for Android signing, the properties, the passwords, and so on for the key store. Google Play JSON file, which makes it possible to deploy to Google Play Store, and then also match password, which is the passwords for the iOS side, your signing and provision profile files. And we found this to be, through the variables, to be the nicest. Step 5, we come to the threaded signing and certificates and profile part, which I don't think I haven't met a developer that likes this part. I don't either. And it's done a little bit differently between different platforms. Android side, the classic one is to have the key store file, and you can then have key store property file, which has the passwords and so on. And then in your build.gradle file, you add this signing configs, and where you use those values, and you can get the signed APK. On the iOS side, it has been a little bit not so optimal in the past, but Apple has been making it better. They have made it much more automatic, but I still think if you want to have a bigger team and also CICD service server which needs access to the signing keys and provision profiles, you want to use this fast lane match feature, which can generate those keys for you, and it will store them in a private GitHub repo where they are easily available to everyone through the fast lane match. And here is an example of those keys being assigned to each of our build flavors. Okay, step 6, we're getting there. So version numbering, we need to auto-increment the version number each time. The app stores don't accept our build otherwise, and we need an easy way to do that. And again, there can be many ways. You can use the CICD services build number. Somehow you get a higher number every time. What worked for us, however, is we have been now using this number of commits to the master, or whatever branch you're building from. And here's an example for both iOS and Android from the fast lane config file. And we first just get the number of commits, and we increment the build number by that. Step 7. One nice thing that Fastlane also has is it has this plugin to add icon patches. And with the icon patches, you can add extra information to the icon. And we want to do this for the dev and staging build flavors. We can, for example, add the version number and also the build number, which the CICD server was using when it was building this app. This way, we can right away Notice that it's different at our production version. And it can also be easy to give feedback that, hey, in a build number 151, I had this bug. And developers right away know that, OK, we can fix that. Or they can say, actually, in 153, it was already fixed. So you don't end up going and fixing something or looking for something that has already been fixed. By default, it handles iOS icons, but by adding custom path to the Android icons, it can work in both platforms just fine. Here is on the top is an example how to add it from Fastlane. OK, step 8. Finally, we want to deploy to the app stores. Android, we are using the Play internal test track. And there's an example how to do it from Fastlane. And then iOS, we are using test flight, which there's also an example. And this part is really nice to have automation by the tool Fastlane. If at this point I haven't mentioned, you haven't noticed, I've mentioned Fastlane many times. It's an awesome tool, open source tool, which automates many of these, or makes it possible to automate many of these steps. And this is the real test that did all the other steps go successfully. Does your app actually deploy like you want? OK, there's one bonus which we have built. So we have this kind of Slack notification that when the build is done, we get a notification that, hey, there's a new dev release, for example. And we can see some commit message and so on. Go and test it. All right. Was it a lot of steps? I think it's quite many steps. And when you don't know exactly how to configure all of that, it can take a lot of time. So this was I want to share my experience. I was tasked to do this to one project. And without having done it before, how long do you think it took me to get a working solution? Someone said 2 days. I think that's optimistic. I wish I would be that good. 1 month, well, for me, it took a little bit over 2 weeks. It wasn't perfect after that time, and we have been fixing it or making it better even after that. But remember that 2 weeks, if I was building this for a customer, so I would have this problem again. I would have that white screen to show to the customer and say, we have done great things, but here are all the features that you have. OK, but after I knew all of this, some 6 months after, there was a new project, and I was asked, hey, now you know how to do this. Can you do this CICD setup for another project? And so I did it again. How long do you think it took me this time? OK, 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 2 days. 2 days is quite close. So it was very helpful to have done it once, but I still had to go back and look at how I did it the first time, because 6 months you don't set these things every day. The whole goal is that you can set it up and you forget it, and so that's how you can. And that makes it hard when you come and try again. And some things might have changed from the last time. All right, so cut it to 2 days. Was thinking that can we try to automate this, and instead of me going and clicking, can we make it faster? So let me have a quick demo. If I would have this kind of CLI, I could input some of those information instead of finding them from Xcode and build.gradle and circle config and different places. And the tool could go on, process some things, install some things for us. Okay, and we're done. And when I make a pull request, I can see it's running our tests, and it's starting our iOS and Android, and it has deployed a new version of the deb, and it has deployed it also to the Android store. So fully automated, it takes less than 2 minutes. Of course, there are some parts that you still need to do, like adding the icons, and Android store needs some things still. But if you have all the prerequisites done, it can be done in less than 2 minutes. And it's been awesome for us, and I want to share it with you as well. So I want to announce you React Native CI, a new library which you just saw what it does. So let the automation do all of that work for you. And so there's the repo right now. Please go and start it, try it, and contribute to it. It's built on top of CLI. It's CLI built on with Glugan, so thanks Infinite Red and Jaemon. It's been helping me with it. And right now it's still in experimental stage. It's been a conference-driven development, so getting everything done. And it's opinionated stack, so what we are using at Go4. But you are welcome to contribute, to offer other choices, for example, different cloud services. All right, thank you.